Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Melanie and I am super jazzed to be here as always. If it is your first time here, welcome. You are just in time to watch my first ever pagan plan with me. Today we're going to be planning out 2021 and starting my new journal for this up and coming year. I'm doing things a little bit differently than you traditionally see in a bullet journal, and I've decided to break up 2021 into the seasons. This means that I'm starting my journal in December 2020 instead of January 2021. If you're interested to see how I've decided to work with this, stay tuned because I'll explain the reasons I divided up by the seasons later on in the video. Now, my bullet journal is not a grimoire. It is not my book of shadows. It's not where I record all of my craft or practice in, but I do track a lot of things in my bullet journal, which is why I like to have things like the lunar cycles, my period trackers in there. All of these things lend themselves into my pagan practice, which is why this is called a pagan plan with me. I've been really going hard for all of 2020 on my bullet journal, so I'm excited to start planning and kind of tweaking and changing my journal style and the layouts and spreads for 2021. Bullet journaling is obviously a great tool for organization and grounding, and I've found it extremely helpful in my spiritual practice and my everyday life. It was a really weird year to start hardcore bullet journaling as we spent a lot more time at home, so I've definitely tweaked and changed the type of spreads that I use, what my day-to-day spreads look like, and I'm really excited to share with you the lessons that I've taken away from 2020 bullet journaling and how I'm going to be transferring those over to the new year to come. Grab a beverage, my friends, and we're gonna head over to the desk. I began by going through the previous year and choosing the spreads that I found helpful and the ones that I didn't use at all. I marked down the spreads that I wanted to continue using and made a few other notes about things that I didn't like, especially this trips and travel page. 2020 did not allow for that. Once I'm happy with the general layout and I've decided on the pages I want to have in my yearly spreads for 2021, I create the list and I get started. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I decided to divide up my 2021 bullet journal into the seasons. This means that my 2021 bullet journal actually starts in December 2020, so that I can have all of the winter months in one category. I did this mainly so that I could more easily have projects that spanned multiple months. For example, planting my garden in the spring, I didn't want to have to switch back and forth between calendars and to-do lists. This allows me to feel more in tune with nature's cycles and natural rhythms so that I can better celebrate the Sabbats and Esbat, which are a big part of my spiritual journey. Let's get started with the name and cover page for my bullet journal. These traveler-sized journals that are dot paper, of course, and they fit perfectly into a leather cover that I have. It was a pretty steep investment, but I'm excited that I will have it for years and it will hold many, many journals. Always had a fascination with the beginning of things. New Year's, Mondays, the beginning of a month, the beginning of a day. I love fresh starts. It's why I have dedicated so much of my practice to new moons where you get to start something new. This is the excitement that I had coming into starting a new bullet journal. hadn't found the opportunity to do in my 2020 bullet journal were cutouts. So starting this bullet journal, I really wanted to do those barn door style pages. Have a specific theme for my entire journal, which is why I wanted to kind of base different months off of the season that they fall in. A lot of my spreads and pages are geared towards nature, and that means we are, of course, starting with some trees. All about using a good reference, so I needed to look up some different style of fonts that I wanted. Turns out I ended up kind of freehanding it myself, but I figured it was authentic of me to show you the entire process I went through before I decided to just wing it. A lesson I wasn't expecting to learn from bullet journaling would be how to move forward past your perfectionist traits that you might have. It is all about having a usable, workable journal in the end. All of the frills and pretty stuff that go into the journal is just extra for me. So it is kind of a privilege that I feel that I have to take the time to decorate and make it pretty. And it also frees me up from that it needing to be perfect fear, because I know in the end this is my journal that I'm going to use to track my life. It's not my art book. Once I have roughly sketched in all of the trees in the 2020, I finally get to go in with some colors and start filling it in. I really didn't want this to be really dark, so I took my time to make sure that I only did one pass over with the marker, unless if I was trying to get depth or shading. One of the great things about using Tombow pens is that you can go back over where you've already colored and it will darken up. I did this in areas where I wanted to add depth or shading, or where I wanted to define the trees from other trees right next to them. My 2020 cover page and name page did not turn out very good, so I am very excited for this opportunity to kind of redeem myself and make some pages that I really enjoy at the beginning of my book. All of the trees colored in, it's time to go in and add some definition and detailing with a black tipped marker. Always funny and rather disorienting when I am editing these time-lapse videos because I know that it took me a lot longer than this to color those trees. Time to cut out the trees so that they are a half barn door style page flip where I can put my name page behind and we can have a funky little design element. This process took a lot longer than I was expecting, and I was a little bit scared to cut off any of the little tips of the trees, but it turned out that it worked all right. I was even able to manage to cut the page off by the seam of the book without ruining any other pages in the book, so we had success. most satisfying part. Now I'm just going back in with my little knife here to trim out any of the extra little holes I want for detailing and to clean up the edges. But I think it looks pretty good even when you flip it to the brown side so that it just looks like a silhouette or a winter tree scene. So I'm happy with how this turned out. So some of you might consider this cheating, but I think this is a beautiful way to get a great result quite quickly. I wanted my name page to be full of color, but I didn't want to have to color in the whole page because I have to use the back side of it for another spread, and I was concerned about the Tombow pens leaking through if I were to actually color in a significant amount of the page. Paper to size so that it would fit into the journal without interfering with how the other pages lay was actually kind of hard. It turns out I had to leave about a millimeter or two of room between this page and the actual binding of the book so that the pages would lay flat. There is nothing I hate more than corners lifting up when I glue something down in my bullet journal, so I went a little heavy-handed on the glue in this situation, so much so that I actually ripped the page underneath this page a little bit, but I did manage to fix it. After it's all glued down, I do just trim the corners off so that they are nice and rounded and fit with the rest of the journal. The 2 millimeters of the page I had to leave blank here. I'm just drawing in a border that I'm going to color in black. It's going to frame this whole page quite well, but also help kind of hide the gap I had to leave. With how this border turned out, I feel like it hides that edge of my page really well and kind of ties the whole image together. I do just double check that the top trees will lay flat. comes to font, and I am not very good at writing neatly, consistently, or evenly whatsoever. So whenever I'm doing a name page, I feel a lot of pressure to somehow successfully write my name without hating it, which is why you'll see me looking up different types of fonts that I can hopefully achieve in 1 or 2 takes, because I don't want to mess up the photo that I'm actually going to be writing my name onto. And yes, believe me, I do see the irony in looking up a messy script font instead of just using my normal messy script as my font. Now this is kind of a classic trick where you write down or draw out the image you want on a piece of paper, and then you just use pencil smudged on the back in order to have like an imprint come out on the page once you go over your writing again. So that's all I did here in order to get a very rough outline of where my text should be. All that is left to do is erase away the pencil on the page, and then my 2021 name and date page is complete. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you're doing for your 2021 bullet journal. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, 2020 was a really weird year for bullet journaling. I'm excited for my 2021 layout and the general idea that I have because I find it a lot more useful in the times that we're in. It's not so much about going to work 9 to 5 and tracking when and how I'm going to do my chores or take care of things, but a lot more tracking of my projects, my passions, my spiritual journey, and recording more personal at-home things about myself. I find this super grounding and really helps me organize my thoughts and stay, sane. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you can see when I post the video all about my tarot spread page in my new bullet journal. This is probably one of my favorite pages in the journal, and it's where I record my 2021 forecast for every month. So if you're interested in seeing how I do a year forecast tarot spread, as well as the page that I created in my bullet journal to document it, then I will see you all back here in a couple of days for another video. Remember to be safe and smart out there, live long and prosper. Bye-bye. Mwah.